Welcome all to the third class of basic maths. So in the previous class we discussed about what about the different type of functions that we are going to differentiate. Now we'll discuss about in details about the differentiation of different type of functions. So we know that for a function which is represented as y is equal to f of x, and we discussed that if we are changing the value of x by a very small value, then the value of y is also going to change, and that very small change is known as nothing but a differential change. So just remember that this differential change or elemental change is represented by dx, and which is nothing but a very small change in value of x. So we can say that the differential change means nothing but a small change, differential change, or very small change, or an elemental change. In a variable, let's say x is denoted by, or it is represented by dx. So this is known as nothing but differentiation of x. So already we discussed that differentiation means we are splitting it into infinite number of small parts. So a very small change in value of x is represented by nothing but dx. And d and x are not two individual terms. It is called as, we will call it as nothing but differentiation of x, and dx is a single term. So if for a function y is equal to f of x, if you are changing the value of x, then the value of y is also going to change. So the change in value of y will also be very small if change in value of x is very small. So that change in value of y is represented by dy, which is known as the differentiation of y. So we can say that if x changes by a very small value, which is represented by something like dx, and the corresponding change in x, then the corresponding change in y is represented by, let's say, dy. So we can find out what about the change in value of y with respect to x, which is represented by dy by dx. That means for a function y is equal to f of x, if you are changing the value of x from x to x plus dx, we are increasing the value of x by a very small value dx, then the value of y is also going to change by a very small value dy. So what about the change in value of y with respect to x, which is represented by dy by dx, or we call it as differentiation of y with respect to x. So this is known as nothing but differentiation of y with respect to x. So basically we are going to find out what about the value of dy by dx for a function y is equal to f of x, and this dy by dx, sometimes we call it as nothing but derivative. So this differentiation, same thing, we can call it as nothing but derivative, or derivative of y with respect to x, or sometimes we call it as nothing but y dash, or the same thing, it is also called it as nothing but y prime. So all these things are basically representing differentiation of y only. So just remember what do you mean by differentiation and what do you mean by dy by dx. So in the next class we'll discuss about how to differentiate algebraic functions.